Hey guys, and welcome to another video on F123. Today I will be showing you the effects of battling with another car wheel to wheel, and more specifically how much time you lose when battling for extended periods of time, and how it negatively can impact your race if you're not smart about which battles you choose to fight and when you choose to fight them. So Conboy and I decided to do two 5-lappers. So it's just a one-on-one, a 1v1, but the principles are still the same. You can apply these to a league race or any other scenario, and the results will be the same. So it's around Kota. We will be using the same setup in both races. So I will be using the same setup in both races, and he will as well. Our setups are very similar, but slightly different. But we won't be changing anything. The weather is the same. Everything from the two 5-lappers are exactly the same. The only difference will be our approach. So in the first one, we are going to race smart. We're going to save our ERS. We're still going to push to be as fast as we can. But in the second one, we're going to be a bit more aggressive. We're going to go for moves, do a bit of side-by-side driving, not back out of any obvious like overtakes. So yeah, let's dive straight in. The first 5-lapper, we are starting in second place, and lights out and away we go. So off the line, we don't use any ERS. We just get a good launch. We quickly enable a bit of ERS, but we turn it off, and we go side by side, just because in a normal race situation there would be cars on the outside, so I just wanted it to seem as real as possible. But we tuck in behind Conboy. And actually on this first lap, you'll see this corner here, we completely underestimate the amount of grip we have, because just before this we did a wet race together. So yeah, in the dry obviously there's a lot more grip, but you can see we're just sticking behind, not using any battery. Our battery is literally still full, and we're just going to sit behind for I think the entire first lap. And I want to compare the lap time. So you'll see again, we get a good exit. I think Conboy uses a bit of battery here just to get some momentum down the straight. We don't use anything yet. We stay just in the slipstream, and you can see how much we close up just by the slipstream alone. And I actually think Conboy is using slightly lower wings. I think he's maybe got 1 or 2 clicks less wing than I have here, which means he should be a bit faster in a straight. But you can see with the slipstream alone, we managed to close up so much without using any ERS or even DRS. So yeah, coming to the end of lap 1, you can see we're still 100% on the battery. We've not used anything, and I presume Conboy also hasn't used too much, because there hasn't been any places where he's really shot away from me. So yeah, coming to the end of the first lap, let's see what lap time this is. Obviously Conboy will set the fastest lap, so he goes a 35.5, we do a 35.8, so just a few tenths behind. And again, you can see not using any battery. We're just sitting behind, waiting patiently, either for him to make a mistake or for us to be able to make a clean move. We do not want to lose any time, because imagine this is a league race scenario, or this is a scenario where you've just maybe come out of the pits and you're trying to catch a bunch of drivers who maybe did an undercut, or you are staying out longer and a bunch of other guys are trying to undercut you. You want to lose as little time as possible, as we do that corner very poorly and we lose a few tenths. We just do a quick burst of the ERS just to get some momentum back, and again we missed the apex slightly, but we don't lose too much time. Just again a short boost of the ERS, turn it back off, and we're still above 90. We're obviously, I think, going to drop below 90 on this straight, but it will harvest back again. So we're well within the DRS of Conboy still. As we lift a bit earlier as well, maybe you want to save some fuel, and you can see even by lifting and then braking later, we don't lose any time. So you don't have to be on the absolute limit every lap when following someone. You can afford to lift and coast a bit if you want to save some fuel. You can afford to lift and coast if you want to save some ERS or your tires. So yeah, just being patient at this stage. Again, coming to the end of this lap, the second lap, you can see now, remember we did a 35.5 and a 35.8. This time around, Conboy sets a 34.7, so almost a second faster, which is fairly normal given that we didn't go from a standing start. But again, you can see the battery, we're still on almost 90% battery. We haven't really touched it that much, and Conboy still has a pretty full battery at this stage as well. So again, going through the S's, nothing, we're literally not doing anything aggressive. We're not going side by side. We're not pretending to go for an overtake, because if we look like we're going to overtake him, then he's going to go defensive, as again we lose some time at that corner, struggling a bit at that corner at the stage, as Convoy gets a bit of a time freeze there, which just puts him back 2/10, and we go for the move, and we do have DRS, but then all of a sudden he pops back ahead of us. That's just the game being the game. So he pops up ahead of us, and with DRS we just close up right onto the back of him again, and the gap is back down to below 3/10. And again, we haven't used any battery, so we've been saving it up. You can see the tire temperatures as well, just below 100, so that's quite optimal. We're not pushing the tires, we're not pushing the ERS, we're just sitting comfortably, and we're still doing very good lap times. So we're allowing him to use a bit of his battery, use his pace, and we are just hooking up to the back of him. So we're kind of using him as a tow truck to just tow us forward, and having a bit of a moment there, just again enabling the ERS just for a brief moment before turning it off. And you can see we actually closed the DRS before we reach turn 1, just to make sure that we aren't too close, because as I said earlier, if we are too close, it forces him to go defensive, which I don't want him to do, because that causes us to lose time. Remember, as we get our second warning of the race, remember this should be viewed as like in a league race scenario, so you want to be losing as little race time as possible. It's not about the position, as Convoy gets a bit of a moment going out that turn, and this allows us to now go for the move. So we brake late, we go around the outside, we do a little switchback, and now we're right behind him on lap 4. So we're going to go for the move here. We enable the ERS, we enable the DRS, and we're going to go for the overtake here. We are close enough to this lap, so you can see we do shoot past, and I think he might be using a bit of battery here to defend, but we just brake a bit later. We go into the corner, we do have the inside line. We leave a bit of space because I wasn't sure if he was going to go for the move again on the outside, but we have completed the move, and now we are in P1. There's just about 1 lap to go, and our battery is still almost full. You can see we're on 80% battery, which means we have almost a full battery to deploy on the last lap. Now obviously you can't deploy a full battery in 1 lap. I don't think you can deploy all 100% in 1 lap, so it doesn't help being on 100% on the final lap. You do want to be a bit below that, so about 70%. And you can see we set another fastest lap of 34.6. So we've just been getting faster every lap, and we haven't been battling at all. We've just made the one move, and we've made the overtake stick without losing us any time. In fact, going for that overtake actually helped us because we had DRS, so we were able to go even faster. And now we're the lead car, so now we push. We absolutely send it through the S's. We carry as much speed as we can. And remember, we are on 2 warnings, so we don't want to get another track limit warning, because that will give us a penalty and ultimately cost us a chance at the race win, because we won't be able to gain 2 or 3 seconds to Convoy in 1 lap. So at the moment he's just below 5/10 from us, so he will have DRS on this straight, and he's going to be burning his whole battery, and we are going to be doing the same because it's the final lap of the race. We don't want to have anything left at the end of this lap. So our ERS was on, we turned it off just to save for the final sector, and again we just brake a bit later. We go a bit deep, which means Convoy comes for the switchback, and we go defensive to make sure he doesn't do another switchback, and again he goes for the switchback and he's on our outside again. So it's a little bit of back and forth between us, but this time we cover off the switchback nicely and we get a good exit. But now for some reason I left the inside door open here. Looking back at it, I should have just stayed as right as possible, and he gets the inside line and goes through, and at this corner there we get a 2-second time penalty for our 3rd warning, and we cross the line. And you'll see now, first sector, second sector, we're both purple, but we end the race without getting another fastest lap. And you'll see in a moment how much time we lost just in that final sector because we were battling. In the first 2 sectors of the race, or of the lap, we were purple by quite a bit because we were ahead and we could carry a lot more speed. But going into the final sector, obviously that was when we were fighting for the race win, and kind of all the gloves were off. And you can see as we go to the race director here, that final sector was a second and a half slower than the one we did on the previous lap. So we lost a second and a half in one sector just by fighting. And obviously that's not ideal. So yeah, let's head into the second race now. But this time we're going to send it. We're absolutely going to send it. Not going to worry about ERS, not going to worry about our tires. And you can see immediately we push for P1 and we brake later and we get into the lead of the race. From the get-go, we take the lead, and now it's up to us to dictate the pace. So we are burning some ERS just to make sure Convoy doesn't go alongside us. And now we have to try and break away, make a 1 second gap before DRS is enabled in 2 laps time. So we are absolutely sending it. And that's the thing I want you to see. In the second race, we weren't trying to hold each other up. We weren't trying to deliberately cost each other time. We were still absolutely on the limit, going as fast as we can, but yeah, obviously just fighting. So you can see Convoy is burning his ERS because we decided to be aggressive this race. So he goes for the move. I decide, you're not going to overtake me, I'm going to try and defend. So I brake later. Around the outside, leave space. We make a bit of contact, but nothing major. We leave space on the inside, and now we're on the inside. And we are going to have the run in this next corner, and Convoy again has a bit of a lag glitch, I think, where he lost a few tenths, and now you can see he is around half a second behind and burning some ERS. As you can see, he's closing up again down to about 3 tenths, and you'll see on this first lap actually the lap time is pretty similar to what we did the previous time. That is because we've used a lot of ERS. You can see I'm down to 70%. So we also set a 35, basically a 35.6, so we're a tenth slower than Convoy was the previous race. But we've used 30% of our battery as we leave space on the inside because he goes for the move. But now we've got the inside for turn 2 and we will stay ahead. We enable some ERS just to make sure we stick in front. And again, you can see through sector 1, it's not like we are going side by side through here. You know, we are going single file, going as fast as we possibly can. There's just a few corners where we are battling more than I would normally do in a league race. You know, in a league race, I would usually just sit behind someone until the opportune moment arrives. But now we are just going to be sending it a bit more than usual. So that whole first sector up until now, we've basically been not side by side, which means we're not losing any time. And now you can see again, I defend the inside, Convoy goes to the outside, and I brake later again. We go on the apex, leave room on the outside, and now Convoy has the inside line from the next one. Again, we brake later, we make a bit of contact there, which throws us a bit off, but it's fine. We have the inside line again, we brake later, and we cover off the switchback. And now I've learned from our mistake in the previous race, we have got the inside line for this right-hander, meaning there's nothing Convoy really can do. But he sends it on our inside, and luckily we have the inside for this left-hander, which means he has to back out. So ultimately, again, a lot of fighting, and you'll see going over the finish line, we don't even improve. So we were slower on lap 2 with a running start than lap 1 where we had a standing start. So you can just already see how much time we are losing just by fighting, and we are down to 44% battery, and we're not even halfway through the race. So yeah, you can just see this is just not benefiting us at all, right? I hope it's clear. But yeah, again, through sector 1, not going side by side, trying to be as quick as we possibly can, get a good exit, and we do gain a bit of time to Convoy. It's just under half a second at the moment, but DRS hasn't been enabled this lap, so he will have DRS down the straight, and he will definitely come for us again. So we enable the ERS because we want to defend, we want to be aggressive, we want to keep track position. Remember, this race is all about track position. We don't care if we lose a lot of time, we just want track position. And does Convoy send it from that far back? He does. You can see the arrow goes red, but we do have more momentum and we stay ahead. We just keep on the inside line to stop him from doing the switchback, but we missed the apex slightly, which allows him to come back at us. But again, we take the outside line, and it's again a bit of back and forth, but we carry more momentum and we are able to stay ahead. So I think this lap around we keep it very tight, so we don't give him the chance to go on the inside again there, and we will finish this lap. I think we will set a new fastest lap here. But yeah, as you can see, it's been quite a hectic race. Conboy actually sets the fastest lap at 35.1, which is not fast at all. And you can see I'm on 27%. So I've got almost no battery left, and there's still 2 laps of this race left. And you can see Conboy is actually flashing already. So that means he's below 10%. And he will have a significant reduction in straight line speed because of that. Because as soon as you go below, I think it's 20%. As soon as you're below 20%, your engine output is significantly reduced. So he's not going to have anything to defend with on this main straight. So we get a good exit, we burn some ERS just to make sure we're nice and close, and we are going to send it again from quite far back. We send it, we get alongside, we leave space on the exit, but again, because he's got the outside line, he just is able to carry more momentum and he gets a better exit. But now we've got DRS, we've got a bit more battery because he's flashing, so we don't need to use any RS. We're going to be able to make this overtake cleanly. But we brake a bit late, we leave space on the inside just in case he sends it, which he does. But again, we've got the better line. This is just this left, right, left, right. If you're on the outside, you can kind of carry more momentum. So you can see me changing it around the whole time. As we get a little tap from Conboy, he just kind of understeers into us as our tires are absolutely screaming, because our tires are overheating. You can see basically all my tires are over 100%, over 100 degrees at this stage, which just shows you that we are overheating the tires, we are using all our battery, and we are just being so slow compared to what we could be. As we said, a 35.8, which again is slower than the laps we managed from a standing start. So yeah, you can just see how much time we're losing. And now it's the last lap of the race. We are ahead, which is not where we want to be. Because yeah, Conboy will obviously have DRS on the final straight. But if we can push, we can maybe open up a gap big enough so that he can't go for the move. And you can see we get a fairly good exit, and the gap is again just under half a second. So obviously I think Conboy is still flashing. I think his ERS is still under 10%. We are just about above 10%, but he will have DRS, and you can see how close he is, 3/10. He's in our slipstream, he's got DRS. We don't really have much to defend with because we've used all of our battery, and yeah, he's gonna swap it around to the inside. We brake later, but he gets the move done. We try and go for a switchback, but we just carried way too little momentum and scrubbed off too much speed. And now he gets a little bit of a moment, which means we're gonna go for it, obviously. And we go around the outside. He squeezes us, but leaves us just enough room. And now we've got the inside for this long right-hander, which means we should be able to get ahead. But this next, and we bang wheels. This next left-hander, I go for a switchback, but will it be enough? We don't know. We send it, we make a bit of contact, but we leave room on the outside, and that's going to be the race win. But that is not what this was about, right? So we don't really mind who won or who came second. What we are interested in is the lap times. So as you will see here, the fastest lap was a 35.4, which is not really fast. So here are your lap times compared to each other, and we were a bit slower on the first lap, but that was due to, number one, we were second. We were behind Conboy in the first race, where in the second race we were the lead car, and we obviously used a lot of ERS on the first lap in the second race. If you look at lap 2, we're almost a second faster in the first race. Lap 3, again, basically half a second faster. Lap 4, we're over a second faster. It's 1.2 seconds faster. And then the last lap, again, what's that, like 1.3 seconds? So yeah, we've just lost a lot of time. And you can see here, when we compare the total race times, we are about 4 seconds off the pace from the first race, which means obviously the first lap was kind of similar, right? So in the remaining 4 laps, we lost a second a lap. Now that doesn't maybe sound as much if you aren't worried about that too much, but imagine you've got a 25 lap race or a 28 lap race and you're losing a second a lap because you are fighting unnecessary fights. You're losing almost 30 seconds in a race, and that's more than a pit stop. which means you're literally better off not fighting anyone and making an extra pit stop and having fresher tires than fighting people every lap for every position. So that's just how crazy it is and how much time you lose when you fight people for every position at every corner on every lap. And we didn't even do that, mind you. As I said in the second race, you can go watch it back again. Most of the time through sector 1, maybe in turn 1 we were side by side, but through the whole sector 1 we were not side by side, so we weren't fighting. Most of the time we were just side by side in sector 3, and that's cost us a second per lap. So if you're fighting even more than that, if you're going 2-3 laps side by side with someone, you're probably losing 3 to 4 seconds a lap. Thanks guys, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, slap that like button, and until next time, bye bye.